Welcome to Bright Bites. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, most mind-bending questions anyone has ever asked. The universe, right? It's ancient. It's unbelievably huge, filled with trillions upon trillions of stars. So, why is it so quiet? Where is everybody? I mean, that's it. That's the question. And it was famously asked by the physicist Enrico Fermi during a lunch with some colleagues way back in 1950. He wasn't wondering where his friends were. Nope, he was talking about aliens. And that simple little question, it kicked off a cosmic debate that is still going strong today. To really get why Fermi's question is so haunting, you gotta try and wrap your head around the scale we're talking about. Forget big numbers. This is a number that basically breaks our brains. We're talking hundreds of billions of galaxies, and each one of those has hundreds of billions of stars. The potential for life out there seems almost guaranteed. And that, right there, that's the heart of the Fermi Paradox. It's this deep, kind of chilling contradiction between the super high probability that alien life exists and the absolute, total, deafening silence from the cosmos. So let's dive into this cosmic mystery. So first things first, let's lay out the argument for why we should be seeing something. Why is this silence so weird to begin with? Well, all the evidence we have suggests the universe should be absolutely buzzing with civilizations. So, in 1961, an astronomer named Frank Drake came up with this. Now, the Drake equation wasn't really meant to give us one solid number. It was more of a tool, a way to organize our thinking and break down this huge question, how many aliens are out there, into a bunch of smaller, slightly more manageable questions. See, each of these letters stands for something different. You've got the rate of star formation, the fraction of those stars with planets, how many of those planets could develop life, and so on, all the way to L, which is how long a civilization sticks around. Now, here's the crazy part. Depending on whether you're an optimist or a pessimist with these numbers, you get wildly different answers. We could be looking at millions of civilizations in our galaxy alone, or less than one, which would mean, well, it's just us. Okay, so if the math suggests that aliens should be common, then something must be stopping them, right? And this leads us to a really dramatic, and honestly a pretty sobering idea, the Great Filter. Just think of it like a bottleneck in the road of life. It's some kind of hurdle that's so incredibly high, so difficult, that almost no species, anywhere, ever, makes it past. So where could this filter be? Well, it could be right at the very beginning, that mysterious jump from non-living chemicals to the first simple life. That's called abiogenesis. Or maybe it's the evolution of complex cells, or the development of intelligence itself. Or, and this is the really scary one, maybe the filter is self-destruction. Maybe intelligent species almost always wipe themselves out with their own technology. Things like nuclear weapons or runaway climate change. And this brings us to the most crucial, goosebump-inducing question of all. Where are we in this story? Are we past the Great Filter? If we are, it would mean we're one of the first, maybe even the only ones to make it through, which would explain the silence. But what if the filter's still ahead of us? What if the hardest test, the one that gets basically everyone else, is still waiting? Now, beyond the Great Filter theory, some other really fascinating ideas have been proposed to solve the paradox. Let's take a look at a few of the leading theories. What if they are out there, but they're just hiding? One idea is called the zoo hypothesis. Basically, they're watching us from a distance like we watch animals in a zoo, but they've decided not to interfere. Or there's a much darker, much more sinister possibility. This is the core of the dark forest theory. It suggests that the universe is actually a terribly dangerous place. The smartest, most logical thing any civilization can do is stay absolutely silent. Because broadcasting your location is like screaming in a dark forest filled with hunters. In this case, the silence we're hearing isn't an absence of life. It's the sound of everyone holding their breath. Then again, maybe we're just an incredible 1 in a trillion fluke. The rare earth hypothesis argues that the list of ingredients for complex life is so long and so specific that it may have only happened once. You need to be in just the right spot in the galaxy, have a big moon to keep your planet from wobbling, have plate tectonics to regulate the climate. You even need a giant planet like Jupiter to act as a cosmic bodyguard, deflecting asteroids. This theory basically says the Great Filter is behind us because it wasn't one thing, but an impossibly long chain of lucky breaks that led to us. Of course, there's always the simplest answer of all, It's just a matter of time and space. Look, we've only been sending out radio signals for a little over a century. That's created a tiny bubble around us that's only about 100 light years across. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is 100,000 light years across. We're a brand new tadpole in a cosmic ocean, and we've barely dipped a toe in. So, after all that, where does this cosmic silence leave us? Well, the mystery is as deep as ever, but our search for an answer is getting more sophisticated every single year. So, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, has been scanning the skies for decades. And today, you have these huge projects like Breakthrough Listen, using the world's most powerful telescopes to hunt for what they call technosignatures, any sign of alien technology. And we're not just listening for old-school radio anymore. We're also looking for things like powerful laser pulses. Some scientists are even suggesting we should start active SETI. Basically, stop just listening and start shouting into the dark ourselves, inviting a response. You know, in the end, the Fermi Paradox does a lot more than just make us wonder about aliens. It kind of forces us to look in the mirror. It becomes a question about us, about our future and our responsibility as, well, as the only intelligent life we know of. For now, maybe the silence itself is the most important message we could ever receive. If this cosmic mystery totally blew your mind, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. That way, you won't miss our next explainer. And seriously, let us know in the comments what you think the answer is. Are we alone? Is it the dark forest? We'd love to hear your take. We've got a lot more deep dives into science and tech coming your way. See you next time.